Well, good morning, everybody. My name's Gene Coltas. I'm presiding member for the Metropolitan Outer Development Assessment Panel number 46 meeting. With me, Mr. Clayton Hyam on my left and Dale Page, specialist member. I'll declare the meeting open at 9:31 a.m. And in doing so, I acknowledge we're hosting this meeting on the traditional land of the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation. We acknowledge the Aboriginal people as the traditional custodians of Western Australia, pay respect to elders past and present, and the ongoing connection between people, land, waters and community. The meeting will be run in accordance with DAP Standing Orders 2024 under the Planning and Development Assessment Panel Regulations of 2011. The meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the DAP website in accordance with Regulation 42A of the Planning and Development Assessment Panel's regulations, and members are invited to announce their name and title prior to speaking. During the meeting, panel members may refer to technical devices to assist them in considering the information before them. Item 2 under Part A of the agenda is apologies, and I have one from Councillor Aaron Bowman from the City of Swan. Item 3, members of leave of absence, there are none. Item 4, voting of previous meetings which are available on the DAP website. Part B of the City of Swan is a City of Swan application. Joining the panel here is Councillor Jennifer Catalano and Councillor Rod Henderson. I will ask all panel members that they have duly considered all of the documentation contained within Part B of the agenda and Part B related information, and also note that we were provided with a Regulation 13 direction response on the 31st of October. Can you please indicate that you have considered all the items? Thank you. That's from all. Item 2, disclosures of interest. I haven't received any. And if any member has, I'll ask them to declare now. And I'll note the standing declaration of interest that if agenda items have been considered at council meetings, the local government members acknowledge that in accordance with section 249 of the DAP Code of Conduct, they have declared that they have participated in council meetings. However, under section 212, the members acknowledge they are not bound by any previous decision of the council and undertake to exercise independent judgment in relation to matters before them. Item 3 on the agenda is the Form 1 DAP application on lot 801 between 91 Stirling Crescent and Talbot Road, Hazelmere. A presenter, and in this instance it's Mr. Jared Ross. Mr. Ross, would you like to make your presentation? You have 3 minutes, actually.
Righty. Good morning. Thank you, presiding member. Thank you, panel members. As you said, my name is Jared Ross. I'm a principal with Taylor Burrell Barnett. With me today is Daniel Gorgie, development manager from Australia. We're here speaking in support of item 3.1. It is. There we go. It is hopefully a fairly straightforward application. One in a series of fairly straightforward industrial applications that we've presented over the last 6 months. So the subject site is zoned general industrial under the city's local scheme, available for dry industrial purposes. It is configured as 2 parcels currently, which are being amalgamated under an existing WAPC approval. The site is cleared, graded, it's ready for development. It's owned by Hesperia. The sites to the south are also owned by Hesperia. So we have development approval over lot 1.99 for a warehouse, development approval over lot 189 and 1190 Adelaide Street, which was granted last month. We have development approval for the southern portion of this site for Lindsay Transport, which was granted a couple of months ago by the DAP. And this is the completion of the subject site. In terms of the development itself, it's a proposed workshop and warehouse tenancy with incidental office spaces. The immediate access is via Stirling Crescent to the main car park. There is a secondary car park access via Talbot Road. Access and egress for the heavy vehicles will be via Stirling Crescent. So heavy vehicles will access via the northern access point, circulate around the buildings or through the workshop and out the southern egress point. The car parking has been distributed for the convenience of employee and visitors. There are 119 parking bays proposed to accommodate the initial staffing estimate on site of 82 staff members. There is provision for a further 45 bays should on-site staffing expand in the future. So part of the approval is an additional car parking area if necessary in the future. It has gone through extensive design review panel input. So we've been to 2 design review panel meetings and a chair review as part of this proposal, and it is supported by the design review panel. And as I said, the balance of the site is being progressed under separate development approval. In terms of landscaping, so the overall site landscaping focuses on the street setback areas to Stirling Crescent and to Talbot Road, the drainage basin and swales around the development and the car parking areas. We're proposing a total of 214 trees, so 7 large trees, 117 medium trees and 88 small trees. There's approximately 5,475 square metres of landscaped area, which equates to 15.4% of the development site, so the city standard is 10%. That equates to approximately 9.2% of canopy coverage at maturity. And for the whole of the development site, including the southern portion that is already approved, it equates to 12.2% landscaping across the whole site. Fairly significant. All right. In closing, we consider that the development proposal represents a really high quality, well-resolved design and will be an outstanding addition to the Hazelmere precinct. We greatly appreciate the officer's guidance and the RAR recommendation. We did have a chance to review the draft conditions and are generally satisfied with them, but happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Jared. Panel members, anyone like to ask a question, please? Councillor Catalano.
Oh, thank you. How large is the actual area of this northern site, part of the site?
Just one moment. Total site area is 35,550 square metres.
Okay. Rightio. Now, I'm going to ask you about trees that you're going to be planting. I had a look through the tree species, and I'm wondering whether you consider planting marries in the development in the landscaped area.
It certainly can be considered. There is a condition as part. Sorry, certainly can be considered. There is a condition as part of the approval implemented to the satisfaction of the city. So if the city officers require that as part of the preparation of the landscaping plan, then we can incorporate those.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Henderson.
Thank you, Chairman. Within the landscaping section of the car parking, there's quite a significant number of medium-sized trees to be planted, which is fantastic. Do you plan to have these as deciduous trees or as Australian permanent trees or whatever?
To be honest, I'm not certain of the answer to that question. I'm sorry, Councillor. I would have to take that on. I don't have the landscape architect with me to advise.
Okay. Thank you for that. The reason I raised that is that deciduous trees obviously get a little bit of sunlight in come winter, and that'll keep people and their cars warm, and vice versa summer. But the advantage with trees such as, say, liquid amber, not only are they a very pretty tree, they have one big advantage, and that is they have quite a sizable seed nut that cockatoos really do like. And I've got plenty of those on my property, and the cockatoos come in and enjoy them in great numbers. My point is that those kinds of trees may help support cockatoos and also benefit the car park arrangements. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
One quickly, Mr. Ross, I did ask through an R13 about the new power pole that appears to be right where your driveway is, exit for the staff car park.
That's in the process of being removed. So
If you come over to answer that, thank you.
that's being removed by Western Perth.
Okay, got plenty of time. It takes a couple of years these days. All right. Yes. Any other questions? If not, thank you, presenters, and any opportunity now for the council staff to ask the council staff, or council staff if you'd like to make a comment on the presentation content. Jonathan, there?
Yeah, Chairperson, no comments from the city at this point. We're happy with as it stands. Thanks.
In regard to the landscaping, are you able to discuss the use of the comments made by Councillor Catalano and Councillor Henderson?
Yeah, through the condition recommended by the city's happy to liaise with the applicant regarding the tree species selection, with those being in accordance with the city's tree guidelines standards. I note a lot of the trees they have recommended fall within those tree guidelines, being natives, and we're happy to work through that regarding the choice of marries and the likes as recommended by Councillor Catalano and Henderson. If you'd like to put that on as an advice note or similar, we're happy to liaise with them accordingly. Okay,
thank you. Any other questions, Dale?
Yes, thank you. Just a quick one. Jonathan, I noticed condition 16, it's unusual to place a condition on a planning approval that is dealt with by legislation outside of the planning framework. And this one deals with noise and the need to not exceed the levels set out in the noise regs. Is there a specific reason you've added that as a planning condition?
Yeah, thank you. The city tends to put that on as a planning condition and or advice note. We tend to take in the position of a condition ordinarily because through compliance, it is easier to enforce at times for the city. So there are mechanisms through breaches of conditions under the Planning and Development Act, which allows for the city to act sometimes swifter on the matters where there's a noise complaint. Also, additionally, there can be greater penalties under the Planning and Development Act for breaches of noise legislation. However, in saying that, the city has no concerns with it being a condition or advice note in this instance.
Thank you. Councillor Catalano, you had a question?
Yes, thanks, Jonathan. What kind of wording should appear on the advice note? Can you advise?
Is this in regards to the trees or the noise?
Yeah, in particular, the planting of marries.
We could word something up around the city or the applicant is to liaise with city staff with respect to the inclusion of marri trees or whatever species you would like to assist in the clearance of the applicable landscape condition. So we could probably word something together in the background if you like. And
well, I could ask the chair of this meeting to put it in as a file note.
We can do that at the appropriate time.
Yeah,
Councillor
okay.
Catalano is an advice note. Thank you. Any further questions?
I'll do that then, thank you.
Thank you, councillor. Any further questions or comments from the council staff? If not, thank you, Jonathan. Move on in the agenda, and I will now ask for a mover and seconder for the report recommendation as printed. Moved councillor Henderson, seconded Mr. Hyan. Thank you very much. Councillor Henderson.
Thank you, Chairman. There isn't really a lot to comment on. This is a great development in my mind. It certainly expands the industrial capability within the area, creates jobs, has been put together very well. Perhaps there may be a bit of a shortfall in the longer term on car parking, but it's going to be the applicant's problem. I do think the car parking arrangements with trees for shade is a very useful addition, but it certainly would like to see the applicant consider trees that don't drop limbs on cars and the like. From a overall perspective, I think the landscaping looks pretty good. Otherwise, I have little to add. I think it's a good application and happy to support it.
Thank you, councillor. Mr. Hyan.
Thank you. I certainly agree with Councillor Henderson. This is, I think, a fairly impressive industrial type application or proposal. It largely satisfies the requirements of the city and their general industrial area. What I would like to do, though, is to propose that condition 16 be deleted and put in as an advice note. I'm always concerned about trying to put conditions which belong to different legislation into the planning framework. So that condition 16 be deleted and it be replaced or put in as an advice note, number 1.
Yes, I'll do that as an amending motion. That 16 be deleted and incorporated as an advice note. You've moved that, Mr. Hyan, seconded by Dale Page. Any discussion? If not, I'll put that amendment. All in favour? It's unanimous. Thank you.
Just continuing on, I did raise with the officers through the R13 about the Talbot Road access road being right adjacent to a fairly major access point for the industrial development immediately east. And the officers have provided a condition which I think would be worth putting in there for that to be assessed or to ensure that the functionality is not impeded by that adjacent access way. So I'm proposing the officers' suggested recommendation, which I'll read, is prior to the issuance of a building permit, evidence must be provided to the City of Swan that the Talbot Road light vehicle egress's functionality is unimpeded in relation to the adjacent crossover, and that the fencing to the eastern lot boundary is designed to be visually permeable for the purposes of maintaining visual connection to the eastern elevation.
Moving that, do I have a seconder? Councillor Henderson. Any discussion on the proposed condition? If not, I'll put that item. All those in favour? It's carried unanimously. So, is that all? Okay. Anyone wish to speak to the item? Councillor Catalano. You are on mute, councillor.
I'd like to do an amendment that there's a file note in relation to the planting of marries, please.
Okay, have drafted a wording for you if you'd like,
Oh,
Councillor.
thank you so much. Yes, I'd like to do
Okay,
that.
I've got the wording as a advice notably number 2, that the applicant is invited to liaise with the city regarding the planting of native vegetation in the landscape areas, including species such as marri trees.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's okay. That's good. Thank you. I'd like to.
Okay, any discussion on that? That's an amendment you're moving. Councillor Henderson,
thank
you wish to second that?
No, I wish to oppose it.
Okay, well, I'll get to see if I've got a seconder first. No seconder for that. The amendment will lapse. Thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to the substantive recommendation with the amendments made. Does anyone wish to speak further? Dale, thank you.
Just very briefly, thank you. I too am happy to support the proposal. It meets the city's planning policy for industrial zones, and the information provided and recommended conditions will ensure achievements with the requirements of restricted use number 14 under the city scheme. The amended plans are now supported by the chair of the design review panel, and the panel is of the view that this development would raise the benchmark for industrial development within the locality and perhaps even the state. So very happy to support the proposal with the conditions and amendments. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just wrap up. I too support the proposal. It's credit to the developers, Hesperia. They do have undertaken quite a lot of major transport orientated industrial developments in this locality and throughout the metropolitan area. So I think that the proposal will work very well on the site and tidy up what has been an area that is very much in transition. That being the case, I'll invite Councillor Henderson to wrap up debate on the item.
Thank you. I thought I saw Councillor Catalano's hand go up. That she may have wanted to enter debate.
Councillor Catalano, do you wish to speak?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to say that it's a real shame that there wasn't a seconder for my motion for the advice note and the planting of trees. And I mean, I'm sure there's panel members that have heard me speak about this before, so I won't go on about it. But you know, I did notice in the design review assessment that they were recommending the planting of native trees or native plants, and you know, liquid ambers are not natives. let's just put that right there. You know, marries are the native trees of this area. They are natives, but they are also the forage tree for these big birds. And we've just missed an opportunity right here to have some marries planted in what was essentially an area completely covered by marries that should have formed, or that should be able to form, even though it's an industrial area, should be able to form a link between the Helena River and the hills where the marries. You know, we need to start thinking a little bit more environmentally, including in these industrial areas. I mean, right across, you know, whether it's residential, industrial, whatever it is, there has to be corridors for wildlife, because without that, we are simply going to lose it. I mean, there's no way you can have wildlife, that you can have biodiversity, that you can have birds, that you can have a healthy environment if we do not provide the things that those birds and animals need. And we've just that opportunity has just we've just lost that now. So, you know, I'd just like to ask you to consider it again when we meet again, if we do meet, because it's just common sense. I mean, it is not radical. The things I'm saying aren't radical. These are just common sense. and they can be accommodated in all kinds of development. And I just wanted to thank the chair for actually preparing that file note, that advice note for me, because he's heard me speak about this many times. And, you know, whilst I just think it's time that we started to think a little bit more holistically about the developments we're putting in. So
thank you, Catalano. Councillor Catalano. Thank you. All right. Councillor Henderson, would you like to close debate, please?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Just concur with the other comments that have been made. Certainly it is a good quality development, as has been said. Just want to perhaps address the landscaping. I think it's unusual to see industrial properties well landscaped, and what we're seeing here is a significant improvement of what has been seen in years gone by. Certainly the Green Corridor for wildlife will be available to them through the many native trees that will be planted there. But importantly, we do need to have safe trees that won't drop limbs on cars. We do need to have trees that will provide fodder for wildlife, and in particular, there are advantages to having a mix of deciduous and native local trees. So I think the developer has taken much of that into account, and we'll see a good development at the end of the day. So I fully support the application. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Henderson. That being the case, I will put the matter to a vote that the recommendation as amended be adopted. All those in favour? For, against? 1. Thank you. It's carried. Okay, moving on to item 4 on parts B, form MODAP application. There are none, and item 5, SAT reconsiderations. There are none. Moving on to item C on the agenda. City of Swan. Joined on the panel by Councillor Bronwyn Smith and Councillor Huntley from City of Wanneroo.
Thank you, Chairman. I shall leave now, and I hope you have a win on the horses today.
Thank you, Councillor. Not with my luck. Okay. Now, item 1 on the part C, I'll ask panel members to confirm that they've duly considered all the documentation, part C of the agenda and part C related information, in particular the addendum to the RAR received on the 30th of October to include current plans for item 3.1A, and addendum received to the RAR received on the 1st of November to include amendments to the RAR from the WAPC on item 3.1B. Can all panel members notify their due consideration? Councillor Huntley, thank you. Okay, item 2, disclosures of interest. I've had none provided, and if any members have one, they can do so now. Otherwise, the declaration of interest on agenda items that have been considered at council meeting by local government members under the DAP Code of Conduct. If they participated in council meeting, they can declare. However, under section 212, they acknowledge that they're not bound by the previous decisions or resolutions and undertake to exercise independent judgment in relation to matters before them. Item 3, we are to consider a Form 1 DAP application, item 3.1A for lot 395 Peony Boulevard, Yanchep, for a service station, motor vehicle wash and fast food outlet, in accordance with DAP standing orders. We have some presentations. We have 2, and the presenters are invited to this. 3 minutes, please. We have Mr. Simpson from PTS Planning and Mr. Boardbar from Transcore. Who wishes to speak first?
I'll start first, Mr. Chairman. Just before you do, we obviously got item 3.1A and 3.1B. This will sort of be a combined presentation on both items, or would you
That's
like?
fine, yes, no, that's understood. That usually is the progress for that.
Great. Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. We are very pleased that we have received approval from all the relevant agencies, including City, DPLH, and now Main Road in light. But we are pleased to receive those approvals. There are proposal to reward some of the conditions, and there are mainly conditions that relate to main roads, and to bring those conditions in line with standard wording that DAP has always endorsed and approved regarding similar conditions. And Peter will articulate those changes, which are relatively minor but standard. The only other item that I just wanted to flag, which is again a proposed wording to a particular condition, is the condition 1 of Main Road's approval. And that condition is relevant to a road safety audit to be organized by the applicant. And the condition requires that the applicant implement all the recommendations of the road safety audit. Now, there is an issue with that, because a road safety auditor, I'm a senior road safety auditor and I do audits all the time. You are obliged to identify other potential safety issues which are totally have no relevance to a proposed development, but they are in the area. And auditor normally identifies those potential safety issues for the consideration of the asset owners, that may be city and maybe main roads. That's why I think it's very important that that condition is slightly amended. When it talks about the recommendations of the audit, it refers to recommendations relevant to the development in the road safety audit. But I think you have got a single sheet. Yeah, but that will come to you shortly, which that change is implemented. Now, that's really all I need to talk about, other than if there is a need for me to explain the reason for those specific changes to the condition and what the following process will involve. I'm happy to assist the panel when there are discussions on those items, either with us or with the city officers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Broadbent. Mr. Simpson.
Yes, thank you. I forgot to mention before, we also have Anthony and Dee from FRP Capital in the audience, who are the owners and developers. Obviously, we've provided our deputation, but then got the last minute conditions from Main Roads, which I would like to address at the end of this. When FRP bought the site, they did a community survey, and as part of that community survey, the residents identified that they wanted a car wash. They identified a few other things. They wanted a Chinese restaurant, which has actually been delivered. And so it's actually based on that survey undertaken by the developers. This item's obviously taken a while through largely commentary from Main Roads. Obviously, the left out is the key issue. The structure plan and the city's policy provides for left out at that location, but it's just taken a bit of time to get there. And we thank DPLH for being able to cut through some of that discussion to come to a conclusion. This development complies with the planning requirements. I know you're shocked, Peter, why you bring us compliant development, but it does. So we're seeking approval for this item. We think it's appropriately designed. It's the land use that the residents would like. It complies with the planning framework, and we're seeking approval. In terms of the conditions, Let's put that up. So the first item up there, and so in this is the blue is new words, the green is strike through words, and the red is some commentary down the bottom of the last two conditions. So in terms of the first condition, condition 10 of the City of Wanneroo recommendation, we've just added in terms of referencing Marmion Avenue. And one of the key criteria in terms of discussion on these conditions is we don't have an issue meeting the specifications of main roads. The question is, and we're not comfortable with, is to their satisfaction, because one of the key planning principles is you can't have a requirement for approval by a third party as part of these applications. Additionally, obviously, we've had some protracted discussions with main roads, and obviously we are comfortable, as I said, dealing with their specifications, but we think that it needs to be the satisfaction of the city. So that's condition 10. In terms of the DPL,
before you go on, councillors, can you see these clearly? Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I can see that clearly.
Thank you. Sorry, Peter, please.
No problem. In terms of the DPLH recommendation, this is the wording from the addendum that came through. So in terms of their condition 1, as Benham identified, we'd like to put in relevant to development, given that road safety audits can be wider. And the second part of that is to the satisfaction of the City of Wanneroo. So it's getting rid of to the satisfaction of main roads. Condition 2 is very similar in terms of we're just changing satisfaction to specification of main roads. Condition 3, again, same discussion in terms of changing satisfaction to specification of main roads and to the satisfaction of the city. Condition 4 is ambiguous in terms of what it actually means. We think it should be deleted. This relates to a crossover internally within the site, which is we consider to be a City of Wanneroo responsibility. They've addressed it through their conditions. So we do not consider that condition 4 is required on the DPLH approval. In condition 5, we again recommending this be deleted or requesting this be deleted. It's actually a condition covered by condition 17 of the city's recommendation that addresses graffiti. Additionally, the building frontage to Marmion Avenue is glazed mainly, so it'd be difficult to apply such provision. Over the back of the page, the only thing there is deleted. If it's accepted that condition 5 is deleted, it would almost also result in the deletion of the price note 2. So that's our presentation to the agenda. Answer any questions.
Okay, panel members, do you have any questions of the presenters? And I think they may apply to both 3.1A and 3.1B. There is a bit of overlap. Mr. Home, do you have a question?
Yes. Maybe totally wrong here, but what if the road safety audit suggests that that entry point is just not appropriate there and will cause problems and has to be moved? So you're at that stage, you've got approval, then all of a sudden we've got an audit that says well, you can't have an entry at that point.
Sure. First of all, based on my experience, there are no operational or safety issues associated with that exit point, new exit point. And main roads officers identified some potential issues in terms of sight lines and that sort of stuff related to safety that we addressed all of those through our response to their comments. So I think if the officers of city are satisfied with the proposal, if officers of the DPLH are satisfied with the proposal, and most importantly, because it's main road asset, if main road are satisfied with that proposal in terms of safety, then the risk of the auditor, the independent auditor, find an issue with respect to that is very, very low. But if obviously such an issue is identified, then we have to, again, as we've done in the past, with main roads, trying to identify the reasons behind it and sort of deal with it.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions of the presenters? I have one, and that is Main Roads originally comment prepared a plan showing queuing at the entry if the first set of Bowsers were full, then people would queue up. But in your opinion, that queuing would be removed if they start going to the second, third and fourth Bowsers?
Sure. Well, there are a couple of points regarding the, if you like, the cheap fuel days. When they first introduced, there was only one or two operators who were offering those cheap fuel days, and we did get as a new offering, we did get quite a few issues and congestions and queues and problems at those selective cheap fuel sites. Passage of 6-7 years now, and the pattern of offering of the cheap fuel days have changed. So if you notice that once the cycle of discount ends on a Sunday night, on Monday the price goes up, but during the week, gradually that price starts to come down, where the actual cheap cycle starts on Sunday, and then Monday continues into Tuesday. Sorry, when the cycle stops on Tuesday, from Wednesday prices go up. So the difference in prices between Sunday, Monday and Tuesday is only a couple of cents per litre, whereas the difference, say, between Wednesday and Sunday is 20-25 cents a litre. So that pattern has changed, and the load of that cheap fuel traffic is now spread over several days. Further to the south, there is another service station, and the way that particular service station operates is that they have an app that if you use their app, you are then locked into the cheapest fuel for the entire week, because you don't have to go on a cheap fuel. They just use their app, whatever the price is. So I'm confident that in this location, we are not having that sort of problems. Plus, as identified by Main Road as a potential issue, we did a queue analysis modeling to establish that what are the risks about queuing and what are the typical queuing. And that modeling resulted that there is very little or no risk of queues actually extending beyond the forecourt of the centre. And it's basically based on the principle, Mr. Chairman, that you mentioned, that, you know, if the first one is busy, well, people go to the next Bowser and next Bowser and next Bowser.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions of the presenters? If not, thank you very much. I'll ask panel members if they have any questions or comments from City of Wanneroo staff. Yes, Councillor Smith.
A general question just to get their opinion on some of the conditions, amendments to them, see what their perspective is on that. Thank you.
Is Greg there or?
Thank you, presiding member. Greg isn't here. I'm acting on behalf of Greg. I'm Mel's son. In response to councillor's query, the city has no objections to the amended wording to the conditions recommended by the applicant. We do agree that the condition of approval cannot rely on approval of a third party. Therefore, we're supportive of the wording to say to the specification or satisfaction of the city. We do note that we will, however, refer any engineering drawings to Main Roads prior to issuing our approval.
Thank you. Any further questions? Councillor Huntley, you had your hand up at the stage. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, my question is just about, we can see that the proposal left turnout treatment to Marmy Avenue is within, it says within 150 metres of a roundabout. Now, we know it's within, but how far is it actually?
Al, are you able to enlighten us on that, or do we throw back to the proponents?
Thank you, presiding member. It's about 150 metres. That's just a rough guesstimate.
Okay. That's scaled off the plans, I presume.
Off that intramap.
So is it 150 metres, or is it, you know, is it near enough 150 metres, or is it 130 or 160? Because it just doesn't.
Okay, I'll throw back to Mr. Boardbar, who's got the detail.
Yes.
Just come forward and we'll
Sure.
just restart the camera.
Sure. This. Okay. This was the point that actually was raised during the application process. So from the center line of the new crossover intersection, all the way back to the exit point of the roundabout, the distance is about 170 meters.
Okay, so it's in excess of 150, it's 170, Councillor Huntley.
Excellent. You know, because it actually says within 150 metres, but if it's actually 170 metres, that's well in excess. And on a 60 kilometre, I can't see there's an issue there. So perhaps that's why Main Roads changed their minds. I'm not sure.
Yes, okay, thank you. Any further questions of the staff? Well,
Yes, thank you. Just a couple of minor ones, if you don't mind. So, do your landscape plans need to include details about reticulation? And if so, should this be mentioned in condition 5, or is it a standard specification that you require in your landscape plans?
Thank you, member. It is a standard condition that we impose that requires the reticulator to just be shown on the plans.
Thank you. Condition 13 refers to the bushfire management plan, but it's missing the date. Can we just confirm what the date of that is, please? I'm assuming it's the one that's attached to the report, but if you can confirm that and we can just add that into the condition, please.
Thank you, member. Yes, we can confirm that. We might just need about a couple minutes to find the exact date, but yes, it should be the same one attached within the RA.
okay, well, if you can enlighten us in due course, we'll take that on board. Panel members, any other questions of the staff? If not, thank you, presenters and staff, for the time being. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, I would like to ask the DPLH officers.
Do you want to do that now, or do we do that when we move into the DPLH item? Because we will be jumping into that, and we can ask them.
Okay, so I didn't know if you, okay.
Okay, I didn't mind them addressing them during the presentation. That way we don't have to have them back to speak again. So, all right, well, if we can do that. Any further discussion or this, of the council staff? If not, we have before us a recommendation, and I'd like to call for a mover and seconder for the RA on 3.1A. Do I have a mover? Yes, Dale Page, seconded councillor Huntley. Okay, Dale, would you like to speak to the item then, please?
Yes, look, I'm comfortable with the recommendation in the RA. There were several submissions through the consultation period that raised concerns with the proposal, but I do feel that these have been appropriately considered and responded to in the schedule of submissions. I agree with the applicant that it's not ideal to rely on the approval of a third party in any planning conditions, so I do support the proposed rewording of condition 10 in the city's RA, and happy to ask that be dealt with that as an amendment.
Okay, do you want to move that as an amending motion? Okay, amending motion 1 is that the condition 10 be reworded to read detailed civil engineering drawings and specification for work on Main Avenue Road Reserve, including the footpath and median, are to be prepared prior to the commencement of construction works to the specification of Main Roads WA and to the satisfaction of the city. Construction works are to be undertaken in accordance with the approved development application, engineering drawings and specifications to the satisfaction of the city. Okay, we have a mover for that, Dale Page. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Huntley, is there any discussion on that? If not, I'll put that amendment. All in favour? That's unanimous. Thank you. You wish to say anything further on the item? If not, Councillor Huntley, you're the seconder. Do you wish to speak to the item, please?
No, I think that's actually been covered. I'm happy with the amendments as just listed by the which obviously is relevant to the development. So I'm happy.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak to the item?
Just to probably, but no, I support it fully as amended, but perhaps condition 13 if the officers have a date for the bushfire management.
Okay, Mel, have you got that date for the bushfire management plan?
Yes, thank you, member. It's the 19th of August 2024.
I need August 2024. That could be just as an administrative item, because I think you've left it out of the original report. So if the mover and seconder are happy with that as an administrative item, thank you. Well, that's amended. So any further discussion on the item before we vote? If not, I'll just reiterate my comment that I'm supportive of it. It does tick all the boxes from a planning point of view. The relevant standards for uses that are proposed, they're all compliant, and issues such as parking, landscaping, odour, gas, noise, waste management are all covered through reports and conditions that are imposed. So therefore, that being the case, I'll invite the mover to wrap up debate.
Nothing further, thank you.
Nothing further. All right, I'll put the item as amended. All those in favour? Councillor, yes, thank you. That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, now we'll move on to item 3.1B, which is the same item, but the WA Planning Commission officers. Would you like to come and address any queries, questions that may have arisen as a result of the presentation? You have your recommendation, but we would obviously like to see your comments on the conditions that were submitted by the applicants, the amended conditions.
Good morning. I'm Caroline Hatherley from Land Use Planning.
I'm Sultan Hussain from our, I'm the Senior Planning and Engineering Officer.
Thank you very much. Okay. Mr. Heim, you had some questions of them.
Right.
Throw it back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Question is, are you happy with the revised conditions as presented by the applicant?
I'm happy with, thank you for the opportunity. I'm okay with the amendment that is proposed relevant to development. However, Marmion Avenue is actually main road controlled road. So the road safety audit or associated works within Marmion Avenue. So the applicant should obtain approval from main roads. So in regards to condition 1, I would say to keep main road to the satisfaction of main roads WA as the way it is. However, as main applicant proposed that relevant to development, that is okay with us.
Do you understand that a planning condition can't be the satisfaction of a third party, and Main Roads is a third party in this case?
Yes, to the satisfaction.
So it could be to the satisfaction of the city in consultation with Main Roads.
Yeah. That can be.
It can still go to the satisfaction of Main Roads and the City of Wanneroo.
No, we're proposing 2 approvals. Then it'll have to be. I think that we would certainly put it in the wording that it's to the satisfaction of the City of Wanneroo on advice from Main Roads. In other words, the city won't approve it unless it's got the imprimatur from Main Roads to the specifications of Main Roads. So I think we'll, in that regard, that's the reason that the wording has been put forward. Similar to item 10 on the City of Wanneroo, conditioned, it had to be changed so that it's to the satisfaction of the city to the specification of Main Roads.
Yeah, Main Roads definitely needs to be involved.
Yes, yeah, they will be. And in fact, this will need.
You want us to share that?
Yes, you can do. Mr. Heim, would you be proposing a different wording for condition 1 so that it's?
It will be when we get to the.
Yes, okay. All right, so you did ask the question. What about the other conditions? 2, 3, 4, or conditions 2 and 3.
Condition 4 is proposed to be deleted.
You had a set of, yes, so your conditions.
I think for Mr. Simpson's.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, thank you. Perfect.
Had spares.
Oh, you didn't get a copy of those?
No, because it was only provided this morning and it was too late to provide to the
I
panel.
thought we might have.
We support the change to condition 2.
Fine, that's getting it the way it should be. And condition 3. Relates back.
Condition 4 is also, they need to have approval from City of Wanneroo, which is right.
Yeah, condition 4.
Well, that's already covered.
Okay. And then condition 5, we support removing that condition as it's reflected in the City of Wanneroo's.
Okay, so condition 4 and 5, you agree with the deletion of those because they're in the city's RAR and city's approval plans. So it sounds like you're agreeable to having conditions 1, 2 and 3, and condition 1 will slight rewording.
And advice note 2.
Yes, okay, so thank you. All right, are there any other questions from the panel to the Department of Planning officers? Councillor Smith, yes.
Just once again, providing an opportunity for City of Wanneroo officers to comment on any of those changes, please.
Okay, I don't think it's their report. I think the City of Wanneroo are in, part of that of the officers, but we can certainly ask them if they have any objection. Mel, are you there still?
Thank you, Presiding Member. I'm sorry, there was just some technical issues. No objections to the amendments to the conditions that the WPC has recommended.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, moving on then, thank you very much. We'll move into discussion on the item then. Can I have a mover and seconder for item 3.1B? Councillor Huntley, seconder. Councillor Smith. Okay, Councillor Huntley, you wish to speak to the item, please. Sorry, you are on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think I got overridden there. Yeah, just to say, look, I'm happy. I'm happy that even with the crossover of those changes, that still covers the B section, and I have no problem with the wash, and glad to see a dog wash in there as well. So, yeah, hopefully you'll all get behind this. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Smith, if you'd like to speak to the item, please.
I'm just happy with everything, so thank you. That's all I need to say. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Heim, you wish to speak to the item? I believe you might want to change to item condition 1.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Well, I presume it's the whole of the recommendations that were presented by the applicants. But with condition 1, I'm proposing that after the City of Wanneroo, the wording to the specifications of Main Roads WA be included.
Okay.
So do you want to perhaps take a look with the...
well, we can take them on block. Yes, there's only 3.
That's right. So we've got condition 2, which removes the word satisfaction, puts specification. Condition 3, similar, takes out satisfaction, specification of Main Roads and to the satisfaction of the City of Wanneroo. Condition 4 is removed, and condition 5 is deleted, and as advice note 2 is deleted.
Can I just clarify, sorry, which report was moved?
I'm assuming it was the
published one.
Published one, yes.
No, are we clear on that? We've got the published report.
I think what's happened is the published report doesn't have those conditions. The addendum then put conditions in. And what I've been talking to is the addendum, the alterations
So we need to be clear.
We need to go back and the published report.
I think it's the one that was moved.
Yeah, well, the substantive one was moved with the, and then we've got the conditions that came through later. So we've got the responsible authority report, 3.1B, which has the wording resolved to 1 approve. And then the conditions. There were only one condition, so we have to move an amendment to the published RA so that we incorporate additional conditions. Conditions 2, 3, 4 and 5, which were published.
Yeah, so in that addendum, it says they want to replace condition 1 with that wording.
That's right.
So
So
I just want to make it very clear what the councillors have moved. They've moved what's in the report. And then we will
Yes.
need to do
Right,
an
so
amendment to move it
Yep.
to this correct condition and then add the other conditions into it.
okay, so we're replacing the substantive recommendation condition 1 with another that was provided by the department. Prior to development opening to the public, a road safety audit is to be conducted at the 15% design concept stage by an independent third-party consultant at the cost of the applicant. The applicant shall move forward the completed road safety audit report. City of Wanneroo, main roads, WA. The recommendations in this road safety audit shall be implemented in their entirety. To the satisfaction of main roads, WA and the City of Wanneroo, the cost associated with the implementation of the recommendation of the road safety audit shall be covered by the applicant. And then there's conditions 2, 3 and 4 and 5, which have got satisfaction of main roads in them.
We just need to make it clear what is the councillors moving. Are they moving
Well, I think
this with the agreement of the mover and seconder as per the addendum, or?
well, I think we need to adopt the or move the 5 conditions that are in the addendum, but with amendments to those. And I think we'll carry them, we'll undertake them one by one.
What was actually moved?
Yeah, I just need to
Yes.
clarify with the councillors,
Yes, councillor Huntley.
were they moving the addendum?
Councillor Huntley, hello. You're on mute.
Hang on, I'm just about to, my computer's just about to switch itself off, so I'm just trying to get some power. Hang on a second.
Okay.
Right. Yes, I have power. Yes, so
Okay.
is it worth, so on condition 1, we're obviously going to replace it with prior to opening to the public with the amended one.
I
But
think
conditions
just to clarify it, you're moving the 5 conditions in the addendum. We don't have to vote on those yet. We've got a seconder, and what we can do now is one by one amend those conditions because we don't, the handout from the applicants is not part of the agenda.
Yeah.
It's something we've got that they made in their presentation, which we can use to amend the various conditions to clarify the third-party nature. So if you are moving the addendum conditions and advice note 1, we can then move into amending those. So you're moving those 5.
Yeah. So just to be clear, they're going in under condition 1. So that whole section moves in under condition 1. Is that correct?
No.
So it'll be with the agreement of the mover and seconder, the following changes were made. So we're replacing condition 1 that's in this substantive with what's in the addendum. and adding those 5 conditions. So that becomes the
Yes.
substantive motion. Then we can make amendments to those.
Yep, no, that's
Yeah.
okay. That's what I was just saying. Yeah, how do they shift into the addendum conditions get into the
Into the minutes, yes.
the agenda? Yeah. Okay, all right, that's fine. Yeah.
So councillor Smith, you seconded it, and you're happy with that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so that's the substantive motion now. Councillor Huntley, you've spoken on the item? Yep. So we can now go into amending motions for each condition.
I'm proposing one, words after the city of Wanneroo to the specification of main roads WA.
Yes. Okay, do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Huntley, thank you. Any discussion on the item, on the
Can I
amendment?
just clarify, Chair, the condition that we're actually discussing now is as per the addendum?
We're amending the condition on the addendum.
So then perhaps I wonder if the amendment also deals with deletion of the words main roads WA after to the satisfaction.
Yes, will do, yes. So do you wish me to read it all out, or you?
Yeah, just read it out to be very clear what we're.
Okay, condition 1 is amended, and it will now read, prior to the development opening to the public, a road safety audit is to be conducted at the 15% design stage by an independent third-party consultant at the cost of the applicant. The applicant shall forward the completed road safety audit report to the City of Wanneroo and Main Roads WA. The recommendations relevant to the development in the road safety audit shall be implemented in their entirety and to the satisfaction of the City of Wanneroo. The wording was to the specifications of Main Roads WA. Stop. The cost associated with the implementation of the recommendation of the road safety audit shall be covered by the applicant. Everyone happy with that? That being the case, sorry, Councillor Huntley.
Yeah, so I've got here so prior to development opening to the public, road safety audit to be conducted at 50% design concept stage by an independent third party consultant at the cost of the applicant. The applicant shall forward the completed road safety audit report to the City of Wanneroo and on advice from Main Roads, implement in their entirety to the specifications of Main Roads. So it's slightly different, and the City of Wanneroo, the costs associated. So you were talking about using the word on advice from Main Roads?
No,
so we've got spec.
To the specifications of Main Roads.
Yeah, but you've got here completed road safety audit report to the City of Wanneroo and Main Roads. We were going to say on advice from Main Roads.
No, because they have to be forwarded to Main Roads and to the City and Main Roads for them to assess it.
Okay,
then the
so we can.
Yes, so then the recommendations relevant in the road safety audit shall be implemented in their entirety to the satisfaction of the City of Wanneroo.
So in fact, that's going to be in their entirety and to the specifications of Main Roads, isn't it? Rather than satisfaction, we're removing the word satisfaction.
Satisfaction of the city.
To the satisfaction of the city and to the specifications of Main Roads WA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Okay, all right. Everyone happy with it, with the wording? That being the case, if there's no further debate on that or discussion, I'll put amendment to condition 1. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Okay, condition 2 currently reads as published on the last line to read full cost of the landowner dash applicant to the satisfaction of main roads. We're proposing to amend that to the words prior to the issue of a building permit, the developer must undertake a 15% design concept plan for the intersection stroke crossover at Marmion Avenue onto the service road, including any road upgrades onto Marmion Avenue at the full cost of the landowner / applicant, to the specification of main roads and to the satisfaction of the City of Wanneroo. So condition 2 is amended with those words. Do I have a mover? Mr. Hyam, do I have a seconder? Councillor Huntley, any discussion on amendment to condition 2? If not, I'll put that to a vote. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Condition 3, similarly, the change to the wording where it says to the satisfaction of main roads, that will be changed. The word satisfaction will be removed and include the word specification of main roads and to the satisfaction of the City of Wanneroo. And I'm clear on that. For condition 3, any discussion on that? I've got a mover, please. Mr. Hyam, seconder. Councillor Huntley, all those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Amending motion to delete condition 4. Do I have a mover? Councillor Huntley, seconded. Mr. Hyam. No debate. I'll put the item. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Another amendment to delete condition 5. Yes. And yes, I'll put these two together. Delete condition 5 and advice note number 2, which refers to condition 5. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Huntley, seconded. Mr. Hyam. Right, I'll put the item.
Could I just raise a point?
Sorry, yes, there is the mover and a seconder.
Just a comment on that. I actually don't believe that condition 17 of the city's recommendation and the condition 5 are the same. Condition 5 relates to applying an anti-graffiti coating on the wall abutting the Main Roads Road Reserve, and the city's condition deals with removal of graffiti within 7 days. Notwithstanding that, I do support deletion of this condition, given the nature of the frontage of the building on Marmion Ave. I just don't think it's necessary, but I just wanted to clarify for the record that I don't think they are the same conditions. But condition 5 is redundant in my view anyway, so I support deletion of it.
Okay, thank you. Any further debate on the item? Delete condition 5 and advice note 2. If not, I'll put the amendment. All in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Okay, does anyone else wish to speak to the item? Okay, we had a mover and a seconder. We've got them, they've all spoken. We've gone through the amendments. Okay, if we're all clear on that, then and there's no further debate, I'll put the substantive motion to approve with amendments as adopted. All those in favour? Thank you, it's unanimous. Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to item 4 on the agenda, Form 2 applications. There's none. 5, Section 31, SAT reconsideration, there are none. Part D, agenda, SAT applications, Supreme Court appeals, they're all listed. If there being no further discussion or debate, I'll announce that the meeting is closed at 10:51 a.m. Wish you all a good day and good luck in the cup. Thank you.